So last night I just saw Men, the new Alex Garland movie, and um, let's talk about first my personal opinions on Alex Garland. I hate his movies. Unfortunately I do. Ex Machina really did nothing for me. I watched it twice, and I don't know. I couldn't. I couldn't. It wasn't that. It's not in the case of Annihilation, which I'll get to in a little bit, where it actively pissed me off, or some moment was just so pretentious that I just couldn't do it anymore. With Ex Machina, it was just I felt no connection to the movie, and I felt it to be really bland. With Annihilation, that movie actively pissed me off because I loved some parts of it, and then I truly despised some parts of it. And all of that had to do with Alex Garland and his really shitty, pretentious storytelling. Alex Garland, in my opinion, is the kind of antithesis of what I like in a filmmaker. And it's not even that I don't like pretentious filmmaking, honestly, because there are some directors and some movies out there that I can say, yeah, that's pretentious, but I still love it anyway. I'm a pretty big A24 fan. I like, who's a pretty pretentious filmmaker? I don't know. But you get what I mean. I like higher cinema or any kind of bullshit you want to say, but Alex Garland goes about it in the exact wrong way, and I think he is just pretentious. I don't think there's any deeper meaning to his movies. I don't think he's metaphorical and smart and deep. I just think he's pretentious, and he has nothing going on for him below the surface. People have hated me for that, for saying that for a very long time. That's probably the take I've gotten the most shit for from my friends or other people online when I say that. But I truly despise Alex Garland. Not as a person, because I don't know. I don't know what the fuck he's all about. But as a director, I really, really hate him. Honestly, I was not looking forward to any of his future projects except this one. And I will get to that in a second. Well, I'll get to that right now, actually. Men, the trailer hooked me in, honestly. I saw it for the first time. Like, this is weird. I don't know what to expect. Oh, fuck. It's Alex Garland. God damn it. I'm not going to see it. Because I just don't need that hate again. I don't need the hatred for Alex Garland, for my hatred. I don't need shit for my hatred of Alex Garland. But I kept seeing trailers, and I kept getting more intrigued. And it was A24, and it was a horror movie, which honestly kind of lends itself to his style a lot better. And I think A24, I don't know, could give him that smaller scale, I don't know how to really say it here. A24 could kind of give him that platform to be really, really weird and pretentious in a horror movie setting, which I think works a lot more than in sci-fi. Again, I was hopeful. Also, A24 has been on a real hot streak as of late. Both X and Everything Everywhere All at Once were phenomenal. I loved both of those movies. So, yeah, I was hopeful for Men. I was doubtfully hopeful. And overall, Men is Alex Garland's best movie. With a huge asterisk on that, and we will get to when I talk about my negatives with this movie. But I would have to say Men is definitely his best movie by a wide margin. Okay, so both Jessie Buckley and Robert Kinnear give really good performances. Really haunting stuff from both of them. Obviously, Robert Kinnear's he plays a bunch of different characters in this movie. That's not really a spoiler just because it's in the trailer. And he does phenomenally well. I've seen him in a bunch of different other things. And he really shines most in this film from when I've seen him before. And Jessie Buckley gives another really great performance. She, I don't know, I didn't know who she was when I first saw I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and she's just been kind of popping up everywhere and giving really good performances all along the way. So even in stuff that I wasn't a huge fan of, like I did see The Lost Daughter. There's a lot of movies from 2021 that I catched up on that I never got to review. I might do something with that, but that's sidetracking. I did see The Lost Daughter. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I still liked it. I would give it like a B-, but I thought her performance in that was probably the biggest bright spot of that movie. Anyway, but both of them really give great performances here. Like, truly haunting stuff. The first two acts were tightly paced, unsettling, and exceptionally well directed. Honestly, the first two acts of this movie really hooked me in. It was creepy. It was tightly paced. It was tensionful. There was a lot of good narrative threads going on, going back to her husband committing suicide, which again is not a spoiler. It was in the trailer. But back to present day, and then kind of the creepier shit that keeps like happening throughout this movie. It all ties really well together, and I think Jessie Buckley gives a really believable performance and a really like human performance, if that makes any sense. Like a really just genuine performance here, and all of the weirdness and warped reality that goes on around her is a really good kind of juxtaposition. I don't know, a lot of this movie was working for me. A lot of it was working for me. I saw it with Cam, and she was freaked out. She hated this movie, by the way, which is completely understandable. She was thoroughly grossed out for the most of it, which I get it. This movie is not for the faint of heart. It is not for people who don't really like gore or weird, creepy shit. And normally, I'm very much on the fence with these kinds of movies, because this is going to get lumped in with shit like a Serbian film or Hostel, or is it Hostel? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, it's Hostel. So stuff like that, where it's like, oh, you should have watched this movie. Oh, it's so disturbing. I don't know. I sit on the fence with these kinds of movies, and for the most part, for up until a certain point in this film, I was on board with this movie, and I was like, this is the right way to do this. This is the right way to really disturb people and really make them sit with what they're watching. And as long as you can land that ending, Alex Garland, I'm going to sing the praises of this movie. I was going to give it an A-. I was going to call it one of the best movies I've seen all year. I was finally ready to love an Alex Garland movie. Also, the movie's gorgeously shot. The cinematography all throughout it is really, really great, especially towards the first 30 minutes or so, I think, and where Jessie Buckley's character is in the woods. So many great shots throughout that portion of the movie. So, yeah. Men really had me in the palm of its hand. I had some issues with it even up until a certain point. The message was way too on the nose, was not really clever whatsoever. A lot of the story was going in directions that I wasn't loving, but was still it was still working a lot for me. I was still fully engaged. I was fully creeped out. I was loving the visual aspect of this movie. It was just a mind trip in the best way possible, and I was finally ready to say, yes, Alex Garland is doing it. He's making a good movie. He's making a movie that I really do love. And then the ending. The ending of this movie might possibly be the worst third act of a good movie I've ever seen. Ever. Of course, Alex Garland had to pull his pretentious bullshit and completely kneecap any momentum this movie had going for it. Of course. Why was I ever on board with this thing? Why did I expect anything else from this guy? Like, Jesus Christ. I was so close. I was right there to loving one of his movies. Literally, if you cut out the part in this movie, if you wrote the ending in almost any different of a way, any way that made more sense, was less stupid and less so up its own ass that it thinks it's being the deepest thing ever when it is just ridiculous. I legitimately hated the climax of this movie and the ensuing fallout. I could not stand it. And that leaves me feeling the most mixed on a movie I think I've felt all year. Rarely ever, I think, am I kind of caught up in the I don't know. I don't feel like I ever feel this mixed on a movie. Loving half of it, or actually 2/3 of it, completely almost loving, and then despising the third act. But wow, did this movie really not stick the landing? And I don't want to give any spoilers away, mainly because I don't want to talk about it, because it is gross. It's really I don't know. It's gross in a way that thinks it's being deep, but realistically is just dumb. Um, so yeah, I even struggle to put a grade on this movie because I loved so much of it and really hated its most important moments. So for now, I'm gonna give Men a B minus. I don't know. It could have went either way, honestly. But I'm gonna say it's a B minus. I did like this movie. It's definitely Alex Garland's best movie by a landslide. But it did not stick the landing whatsoever. So yeah, that's my thoughts, my very complicated thoughts on Men. I really wanted to love this movie. I really did, and I was, and then I just, what a shame, really. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Men. I'm going to be, I think I'm going to be doing a 3-part 1-minute review of the new Chip and Dale movie, Firestarter, which I already saw, and then On the Count of Three, which I know a lot of people are counting as a 2021 movie, but I'm going to count it as a 2022 because it got widely released in the United States in 2022. So yeah, I'll be getting a review out of those three, a little bit of a roundup review for movies I kind of missed throughout the first half of this year, and yeah, that's all I've got. So see you guys next time.